Good evening, everyone. Good evening. May I have your attention? Thank you. I call this council reorganization meeting of January 2nd, 2020 to order at 6:40 p.m. Will the city clerk please read the Open Public Meetings Act?
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Notice of this meeting was published in the record on January 31st, 2019. In addition, a copy of the notice was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on aforementioned date. Proper notice having been given, the municipal clerk is directed to include the statement in the minutes of this meeting.
Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will Nick Galucci step forward, please? And we need to remain standing. Nick's going to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see o'er the dawn's early light what so proudly we'd hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars o'er the dawn's early light, o'er the ramparts we'd watched, were so gatheredly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Will the Rabbi Popko of Congregation Avatora step forward for opening prayer? Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you very much for this very special honor. Avinu Shabashamayim, our Father in heaven, bless, guard, protect, and assist all the members of our city council and city government, in particular those councilmen who are being sworn in this evening, Michael Cohen and Wayne Hamer. We continue to instill within our council members and all government officials wisdom, sensitivity, and courage as they serve our citizens. Provide them with support and sustenance to promote our cherished diversity. Enable them to continue fostering unity and communal cohesion. We turn to you at a time when baseless hatred and division has darkened our skies, and we need their guidance more than ever. We need your guidance more than ever to bring the light of humanity and fellowship to our community. Guide our council members in promoting justice, moral clarity, ethical living, righteousness, and acts of kindness throughout our neighborhoods. Grant them and their families only good health and happiness. O Lord, rock of our salvation, as the great-grandchild of a rabbi who was imprisoned in communist Russia simply for running a school to teach your Torah, I join everyone here in a prayer of profound gratitude and deep appreciation for the blessings of liberty and freedom that our United States of America provide to people of faith and all of its citizens. Master of the universe, protect our courageous members of the police department, fire department, emergency medical services, and all other first responders, and watch over all of our elected officials and government employees. grant us peace and prosperity, and let us say amen.
Thank you very much. Now, the oath of office. First, Michael Cohen. Okay. We're going to reverse order. Councilman Hamer will be sworn in first.
Good evening, everyone. Council President, with your permission and also Wayne's permission, I'm going to defer my oath to the Congressman. The Congressman, please stand up and present the oath of office.
Thank you, Assemblyman. Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to every council person who's here, the lawyers, and the doctors, and everyone else. We're here? We're good. Place your left hand on the Bible. I,
Wayne Hamer,
do hereby swear
do hereby swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people of the city of Englewood.
under the authority of the people of the city of Englewood.
Further, I do swear
Further, I do swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
justly
justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the position of Fourth Ward Council
of the position of Fourth Ward Council
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
God bless you and Happy New Year.
It's a do-over.
Good job, man.
We're just pausing here for a moment, waiting for an appropriate swearing-in document, so bear with us.
You don't have to use anything.
I'm the stand-in commercial. I'm actually going to ask the councilman to come forward with his wife and children. There is a Bible. It's actually on microfilm, and it's in Hebrew, and I have it in my person. So we may not be able to see it, but they can be sworn on it, please. It's modern technology. Hi. How are you? Okay, wonderful. So this is a particular pleasure for me as the mayor of Englewood to be swearing in Councilman Cohen for his 4th term. I held the seat for 2 terms. This is a testament to your constituent services and the diligence and the love with all these beautiful children in your family, that they would share their father and that he would continually get reelected as a feather in your cap and ours. So thank you for what you do for the Simon Wiesenthal Center and for everything else. Rabbi, I don't need the microfiche then. Thank you. Mr. Kaufman. Thank you. If you don't mind, your whole Put your left hand on there. Raise your right hand. I, Michael Cohen, do hereby affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people of the City of Englewood. Further, I do affirm that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the position of Second Ward Council according to the best of my ability. Congratulations. How's it look? How's it look, guys? Congratulations.
Congratulations to both council people.
Where's Daddy going? Zeke! It's disgusting. Did you say what?
Next, we have comments from Mayor Wilds.
This is by the charter of the City of Englewood, my statement and the state of the city. I would like to first welcome everybody, and we are now for the first time actually on YouTube. I'd like to begin by wishing everyone here and your families a happy, healthy, and a prosperous new year. It's always a pleasure for me to look out in this room in Englewood and take in the amazing mix of people that make up our community, all of them from different schools of thought, walks of life, ethnicities, and religions, all that make our city so special. We're honored to have you. I'd like to also acknowledge the presence of some of our more distinguished citizens. Again, Rabbi Popko, for your kind words, Pastor Thompson, for joining us, our Congressman Pasquale, for being always there for us, Gordon Johnson, for being so gracious this evening, is our Assemblyman Scott Redine, a former councilman, our Police Chief Larry Suffern, our former Mayor Frank Huddle, Nellie Bobie, on the Library Board Michael Kaufman, our tenured CFO Doug Byrne, our former representative of the council and now the Planning Board lawyer Lisa Wasatsky, about 30 different titles in town. Thank you for joining us, most distinguished for her planning board term. Diane Jansen for Cultural Affairs, Jack Silberman for the Environmental Commission, Miles and Caesar, 2 very important people in the DPW, were actually heroes this past year and were rewarded for same. Franz Volzi, our soon-to-be city engineer, Manny Barrientos, Planning Board, Adam Brown, Board of Adjustment, John Kelly, Board of Adjustment, Joe Hoyle, Jabari Society, Chris Gagliardi for being effectively Englewood's voice, and my deputy, Catherine Melendez at City Hall. And I would like to convey my personal regrets on a loss that Mr. Cobb sustained just recently. I thank everybody for being here, including those that are watching us, city employees, police, firefighters, first responders, public works, religious leaders, members of the various boards and committee, and the rest of you who work tirelessly for our city. Congratulations to both Councilman Hamer and Cohen on your swearing in this evening. And of course, I have to give a special thank you to my wife, Amy, and our 4 children who along the way have collected 2 spouses and a fiance, as I feel truly blessed as my family grows and continues. As many of you know, I stepped away from elected office 10 years ago to run a practice founded by my father, Leon Wilds, who I owe so much. I'm so happy that I have never regretted that decision for an instant. It was only once that the kids were off and their careers were in place that a return to public office and service occurred to me, and it's with that continued love and support and the infinite patience of my family that I have the ability to serve as your mayor. Before proceeding, I ask that we all take a moment to remember those that we've lost this past year, including former Mayor Ned Feldman, lifelong volunteer John Van Alstyne Johnson, former Councilman Reverend Stanley Dennison, and many other treasured members of our community. With that, it's an honor to present you my first State of the City address the second time around. And after the past year of serving as your mayor, it's clear that while Englewood is constantly changing, much has yet stayed the same. Englewood is a special place, both a city and a suburb. We have the benefit of a true downtown just blocks away from quiet residential neighborhoods and many families going back generations while serving as a bedroom community to Manhattan for others. For all of those who have chosen to call Englewood our home, we have a few things in common. We value the quality of life that we've found here. We want to provide a level of affordability to allow us to stay as long as we choose. During my last campaign, I made a pledge to renew Englewood, and I've kept that pledge. I'm proud to say we've seen flashes of progress and often found ourselves hindered still by some inaction and design. I have immense respect for our city's history and gratitude towards every person who lends their time, but it's important that you understand that we need to be more proactive and a more thoughtful approach. As mayor under our form of government, I don't have a vote on the city budget or many important decisions, but nonetheless, I take the obligation to chart our course, facilitate as I am, and call out deficiencies along the way. The driving force of our city must be its economy, revitalizing the downtown, identifying vacancies in stores. I've made it my task in the last year to be a sort of economic development emissary to identify these needs, find landlords, tenants, and bring them forward to the boards. In this vein, I attended numerous ribbon cuttings and brought back and helped through a lot of wonderful people like Omar Lopez and Diane and others, the Art Walk to highlight the artist community and to make sure that we look at ways to make the parking downtown through Adam Brown and the SID and all the other wonderful groups that we had to make sure that if there is going to be a railway hookup to the city of Englewood, that we're ready and sorted. Investing in our children is so important in the pursuit of a community center that I had hoped that would be in discussion or dialogue. Meetings were facilitated months ago with stakeholders such as Metro Community Church trying to explore viable sites, but not limited to the Liberty School, as well as other potential uses for the Liberty School if that's not an ideal spot. We've already begun to research both legal and cultural circumstances of a church within a community center, and more recent conversations have been encouraging. We have to redouble our efforts in 2020 to make sure this reality becomes a potential so that we move forward rather than lose resources as they slip away. In the meantime, I, along with many others seated in this room, have worked hard to support our children by attending so many of the important events that we've had in the public schools and the library, and I look forward to making sure that we protect their and the seniors' interests. On public safety, we were faced with serious situations and a regional uptick in anti-Semitism, robberies, shootings, and even a tragic double homicide. We are lucky to have dedicated hands-on professionals watching out for us, such as our police chief, Larry Suffren, our deputy chief, Greg Halstead, and our fire chief, Chief Anderson, and so many others. Through all of their troubles, and each one of these gentlemen has always been available and has returned phone calls and emails literally within minutes, whether they were in the city or out of the city, to their credit. I've always found them to be accessible, communicative, and their sense of excellence is unparalleled. My community engagement committee convened a meeting with public safety. We worked to make sure that there would be organizations that would be available And we worked also with our good congressman, and I thank him for being here today and for coming through to secure this grant for the fire department. We actually saw the hiring of 4 new police officers. Another priority has to make sure that our staffing levels in all of our law enforcement, fire apparatus, and those services are up to speed. We are confronting serious pedestrian safety issues at the forefront, including recent incidents that need our full attention. A prominent resident of the 2nd Ward enlightened me about a Vision Zero network that would improve pedestrian safety measures around the schools, all houses of worship in the downtown district in particular, and I will ask the Cultural Affairs Committee to explore this along with the council, who, to their credit, is already working on this serious concern. On smart development, I have not been shy in saying that we need development in Englewood to drive our economic engine. This has never meant unbridled development, but rather keeping an open mind and an open eye for situations that will expand our tax base while enhancing our city as a whole. For the past decade, we've seen both mind and eye remain largely closed, and our city finances has suffered as a result. Thankfully, even without the advocacy on behalf of the city, we've seen organically about $13 million worth of ratables grow, showing how desirable our city is. But we have vastly more potential and currently been overlooked by many potential products because we are getting a reputation that business does not move forward. I know that not every project is the right fit, but we have to make sure that we take care of competitive stance, such as the opportunity zones. Through the spine of this city, there is a federal opportunity zone primed for capital gains tax abatements as an additional enticement for developers to come in. It will not detract from our school and municipal funds, and they're not going to residential neighborhoods whose homes will be displacing families. They are mainly commercial or vacant stretches to major thoroughfares along the way to Route 4, and if properly developed, can not only bring their own ratables, but will be a conduit for other businesses. I've also advocated this year repeatedly for studies of these areas to identify potential projects, and I'm prayerful that the council will move on the research once we provide it. I've seen the financial projections for 2020, and while Englewood is not destitute, we are not in a position to scoff at potential revenues. I'm glad also that the Mitchell-Simon project moved forward. The master plan even cited the actual approved use, and I was able to secure an additional 5 affordable housing units, despite the fact that we had met our obligations and they weren't required to do that. By not slamming a door in the face, but instead having conversations, we were able to get an added benefit for our community. Thankfully, the council has already moved an affordable housing ordinance forward. We should explore the possibility of designating similar units as workforce housing for our police officers, our firefighters, for our hospital workers, to make sure that the largest employer, our hospital system, can keep people living, eating, and doing everything important in our city. On community engagement, I'm proud of the Cultural Affairs Committee, which brought dozens of residents from all parts of the city together for multiple events. We gained many insights from our first year's activities, and I'm redefining the committee this year, and I'll be submitting my appointments shortly to the city. I'm proud of our Environmental Commission and the recognition received statewide, as well as the efforts that we city effectively signed on to the Paris Accords. Sustainability is an imperative to responsible development, and we owe it to future generations to get this right. I brought back the Englewood Community Day. We raised a pride flag at the library and supported fundraising for Juneteenth, Uptown Basketball Library, the Elks Lodge, the Kesher Synagogue that's looking to preserve the Taylor Bliss House, and a score of other events. In conclusion, we have many challenges ahead, including the selection of a permanent city manager. I thank you, Jewel, for your stellar professional services rendered to our city. Our largest employer, Englewood Health, has cautiously looked to increase our revenues to keep pace with our growing costs. Let us continually unite as we invest in our children and protect our seniors and move the dialogue. If we're going to do a community center, let's get our hand around it. If we're not going to do it, let's come to that conclusion and develop the Liberty School and do other things and not let it lay fallow. I hold each of my colleagues on this council and the professionals, the city solicitor, the city clerk, and everybody in high esteem. I know that they're genuinely inclined and they carry only the best intentions for our city. I want to again thank each of you for your service, and thank and wish the best for each of you and your families for the new year. One only has to look at the international and the national leaders who visit our city to appreciate its significance in New Jersey and in world affairs. Let us work together to see that Englewood, the city of trees, remains rooted in a strong fiscal, responsible position and continues our efforts of social responsibility in the new year. May God bless our city and each of you and your families. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The mayor will now conduct the election process for Council President 2020.
Ah, you can see things better here. Is it something I said? No? Okay. All right, a privilege. Actually, this is, I should make this happen longer. It's nice to be up here. I'd like to receive nominations, if I can, for this year, 2020's Council President.
Mayor Wells,
Yes, Mr. Hamer.
I place in the nomination the name of Councilman Charles Cobb.
Okay. Are there, do I vote on the first one, or do I look for any other
Should need-
nominations?
Ask for a second.
Is there a second to?
Second.
Second from Ms. Rosenberg. Are there any other nominations? Not from you. Seeing no other nominations, I'd like to have a roll call vote on the nomination made by Mr. Hamer.
Mayor
Councilman,
Wells,
Yes, sir.
I submit that we should vote by acclamation and dispense with the roll call and cast a unanimous ballot in favor of Councilman Cobb.
Are there any objections from the council in voting by acclamation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cohen?
I'd like to do roll call, please.
I'd like to do a roll call. Mr. Bailey, the protocol would require us to do a roll call then?
Yes. Someone should actually make a formal motion, which would be seconded again, and then the roll call.
Okay, so do I have a motion to make yet another nomination for council
This is
president?
actually motion to elect.
A motion to elect, okay. Do I have a motion to elect?
I move that nominations be closed and the council proceed with the election.
Mr. Hamer has moved to proceed with the election. Do I have a second for Mr. Hamer's motion?
Second.
Ms. Rosenberg has seconded Mr. Hamer's motion. I ask that the city clerk call the roll.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Glenn,
Yes.
Councilman Hamer,
My vote is yes.
Councilwoman Rosenberg.
Yes.
The vote proceeds. Congratulations, Mr. Cobb. I believe there'll now be a swearing in of Mr. Cobb. Mr. Johnson seems to be available, and then you will take the chair.
Really? You know, I didn't even know that.
I state your name.
I, Charles Cobb,
Do hereby swear
do hereby swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people
under the authority of the people
of the city of Englewood.
of the city of Englewood.
Further,
Further,
I do swear
I do swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the position of council president
of the position of council president
according to my ability.
according to my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You gonna take a picture? Court.
That is funny.
Thank you.
Yep. Everyone gets a chance.
YEP, yep.
Good job.
Pushing it.
I think Charles does first time. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we saw. About what? Paper.
It's like a game show.
Yeah, you're right, changing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Charles.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
For your service, you're very welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judy. First order of business is come see you tomorrow. So do we gotta take nominations for?
Now you're going to open up the nominations.
Okay.
You have your instructions.
Head down.
Jesse. It's fine. How many more stuff
Now we're gonna open up the floor for nominations for Council Pro Tem.
Council President,
Yes.
I'd like to enter the name of Councilwoman Cheryl Rosenberg as Council Person Pro Tem. Council President Pro Tem.
Any other? Is there a second? I'll second it. Are there any other nominations? I'm going to close the nominations now, see that I don't see any other nominations. Is there a motion to elect Councilwoman Rosenberg?
So moved.
I second it. Roll call?
Who was the second? You were the second.
I second.
Councilman Cohen.
Abstain?
Councilwoman Glenn.
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Vote yes.
Councilwoman Rosenberg?
Yes.
Council President Cobb?
Yes. Congratulations. Everybody's going to speak next. I'm going to put my glasses on.
Okay. This is nice. A lot of musical chairs, but this is lovely.
Hey, you got to get somebody to
I'm not
hold
going
something?
anywhere. I'll sit here and hear
Hey, do you get somebody to hold something?
No, I'm good. You don't need to hold anything.
Let me have the permission. It's okay. We need all the help we can get in this city. I
I, Cheryl Rosenberg,
do hereby affirm
do hereby affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United
of
States
the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New
of
Jersey,
the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority
under the authority
of the people
people
of the City of
of
Englewood.
the City of Englewood.
Further,
Further,
I do affirm
I do affirm
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of Council President Pro Tem
of Council President Pro Tem
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
At this point in the meeting, I'd like to open it up to any elected officials or dignitaries who would like to come up and say a few words. Mr. Johnson.
I will say a few words.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to those newly elected, well, not really newly elected, but re-elected elected officials that we have here in the city who have been ensuring that within these 5 square miles, we had some prosperity and vision as we go forward. But I have to comment on the hatred that we've experienced in New Jersey and also in New York. And if we as a city, as a people, are going to continue to prosper, we have to work together. It's called mutual respect. It's called coming to a council meeting with and acting and providing a dialogue that's not aggressive. Just state what you have to say, your feelings, the issues, and I'm not seeing that as all the time here as I view the Facebook posts that are up. So when we come to in this venue, always remember that this is the city of Englewood. This is the center right here. And understand that we don't always agree on ideas that come up, but this is the place to present your case, state your case, how it may impact on you, your family, or your block, or your ward, and do it with civility. That's what we represent here in the city of Englewood. I've been here for about 60 years now. actually over 60 years. But anyway, we'll go with 60. And it's a great place to live. Always has been. Always will be. We have to work together. So I wish everyone here a prosperous 2020. I wish the elected officials here luck, and those appointed as we go forward, hopefully with a vision to continue to make this city the great place it is. Thank you.
Mayor Huddle.
Welcome and Happy New Year to a very good evening tonight. Mayor, hello. I welcome you, good greetings.
Welcome back.
To each council member, and in particular, Assemblyman, where is he, Gordon Johnson, announced that he's been here for 60 years. However, this could be a fact check, but I'd like to congratulate Charles Cobb as council president for our great city, and also that he's the first council president that is born and raised in the city of Englewood. My comments are a little straightforward for 2020. It's about peace. It's about working together. It's about having colleagues around the table. We have a current council president, and the majority of the people have been council president or council, and we have a mayor that was a mayor before, a mayor now, and a prior councilman. We do have a great city, and it is special throughout. And I just ask everybody to work together and to move our city forward in the best possible way it can for 2020. And again, Council President Charles Cobb, my congratulations go to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Good evening and good afternoon. I'm Pastor John Givens of New Shiloh AME Zion Church here in this great city of Englewood. And on behalf of the faith-based community, Happy New Year. It has been proven over and over again that where there is unity, there is strength. We have our differences, but we also have unity. And as we embark upon this new year and a new decade, let me say congratulations to all our elected officials. May God bless all of you. And truly on behalf of the faith-based community, we pray for love, we pray for unity, and we pray for understanding, that we as a community in the city of Englewood, that whatever our difference may be in this new year, 2020, and in this decade, that we can find common grounds, that we can come together in peace, unity, and love for the betterment of our community, our people, and our education cities. We can do it. With love, we can do it. God bless all of you. Happy New Year, and let's put our shoulder to the wheel. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. So now we will have remarks from the council members. Mayor, you have already spoken, so you're good.
Nothing left.
You're good for the evening.
I got nothing left.
So we'll start with Councilwoman Glenn. I mean, not Glenn, sorry. Rosenberg. Let's go in that order. Sorry.
Good evening. Happy New Year. Thank you all for coming out. Congratulations to Councilman Cohen and Hamer and Councilman Cobb for being council president. And thank you to Councilwoman Glenn for being our leader for the last year and for taking us through what was a relatively successful year given all of the challenges that we had. I had the great honor of representing Senator Loretta Weinberg today at a meeting of 40 of the top Jewish leaders in New Jersey from all across the state to discuss how to combat anti-Semitism with the governor and law enforcement, and it was a really promising meeting. Only because we all recognize that we are all there for the same reason, and that is to come together to combat hate. Anti-Semitism is one kind of hate, and it is on the rise, and it is not the only kind of hate. And until we all recognize that we have a lot more in common than divides us, we're not going to be safe. None of us are going to be safe unless we're all safe. We have an incredibly diverse city and a diverse council, and that should be our, like, the feather in our hat instead of a constant challenge to us. Regardless what has been put out there, most of us on the council really do work together very well, and we are moving things forward, and there is hope for the city as long as we listen more and talk less and try to understand where everyone is coming from, so that we are not constantly all fighting battles that we could be fighting together alone. So in that vein, I want to wish you again a happy new year. I hope that we can come together, that we can be unified as we pursue love and peace and success for Englewood.
Councilwoman Glenn.
Every year, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court makes a report, and this year I read his report, and I found myself very moved by it, which politically I never exactly expected to be by Chief Justice John Roberts. But he said a number of things that I found very meaningful, and I wanted to paraphrase some of what he said. I ask my government colleagues to continue their efforts to promote public confidence in our government and legislature, both through their votes and through civic outreach. We should celebrate our strong and independent government, a key source of national unity and stability. But we should also remember that justice is not inevitable. We should reflect on our duty to legislate without fear or favor, deciding each matter with humility, integrity, and dispatch. As the new year begins and we turn to the task before us, we should each resolve to do our best to maintain the public's trust that we are faithfully discharging our solemn obligation to equal justice under law. These principles leave no place for mob violence, but in the ensuing years, we have come to take democracy for granted, and civic education has fallen by the wayside. In our age, when social media can instantly spread rumor and false information on a grand scale, the public's need to understand our government and the protections it provides is ever more vital. All of us have an important role to play in civic education. I would just close with a quote from Martin Luther King. We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now.
Councilman Cohen.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I want to just congratulate everybody tonight who was achieved their positions, whether it was internally on the council, in council president pro tem, or whether it was Councilman Hamer for his reelection. So congratulations, everybody, and look forward to another year of service in the name of helping Englewood in every way we can. I over the last couple of weeks, there's been a real reason for a lot of reflection in my life, and I've been very lucky in a lot of ways. I mean, one, I'm blessed with a beautiful family who was able to be here tonight, and enough, kids to drive me a little nuts too. But when I look at, and I have the great fortune of, now being able to serve Englewood once again for another 3 years, which gives me great satisfaction to be able to service the community that I've been a part of for now closing in on 20 years. So that gives me great satisfaction, and in my professional life, being able to run the East Coast for one of the largest Jewish human and civil rights organizations in the country. What's been really difficult lately, though, is in each of those roles having to see what our country and what our region and what our neighborhoods have seen. In that role, after the Jersey City shooting, I was on site right there, stepping on broken glass, watching, looking at the bullet holes. Just this past Saturday night, I had to run out to Rockland County to Muncie to really be on site. An hour and a half after the incident with the police all there, still seeing the emergency services doing their job. Not to mention the 7 or 8 other incidences that we've seen of hate crimes just over the last couple of days alone. I've seen. I want to really thank our police chief, and our deputy chief, who over the last week or two, when you have had folks in the community, whether it was synagogue events or just other folks in the community who have just been fearful all of a sudden, for being there, for making sure that to the best of your ability, you make people feel safe, and you make sure that there is a police presence where it needs to be to make sure that we can have the best possible protection throughout Englewood. But as we all know, we can't no city can put a policeman in every corner, or a car in every street, and I was at a meeting the other day with Attorney General Tish James of in Muncie, and her saying simply that no matter how much resources, no matter how much you have, there's no way to keep eyes and ears over everything unless we have our communities working together to watch our streets, to watch out for each other, and to be there for each other, and making sure to really show those who hate that there is no space for hate. We've seen some great elements over the past couple of weeks or days. We've seen the Guardian Angels come into Crown Heights and all of a sudden take over, put people on every corner. We've seen private patrols. We've seen all kinds of things. But hopefully what we can find here in Englewood is that hopefully we don't have a need for all of that. Hopefully we can come together and make sure that hate of that nature does not exist in our community. Hopefully we can be that shining light on a hill where we can make sure that our communities stay together, protect each other, and in this very, very difficult time, can be an example unto others, an example to other cities. So I look forward to working on all of the issues that we have locally, and also trying to make sure that we continue to be an example and to make sure that our communities are safe, our families feel secure, we're all protected, and we all can be an example of the antithesis of everything that has been going on, unfortunately, in our region over the last couple of weeks. So I look forward to continue serving the people of Englewood. It's a pleasure, it's a joy, and it's a very distinct privilege. So thank you.
Councilman Hamer.
Good evening, everyone. This is the start of a new year, start of a new decade, and it's full of promise and possibility. We have to take advantage of that, though. I thank everyone who cast a vote back in November, and I congratulate my colleagues, Councilman Cohen on his unopposed reelection, Councilman Cobb, and Councilwoman Rosenberg on being promoted to lead us as council people. There are 5 things that I think that we should focus on, and I certainly am going to focus on in the upcoming year. First of which is safety. I would have started by thanking my family for being here and helping me be sworn in, but they treated me like they normally do. They come to a council meeting, they see me get sworn in, and then they head off. But actually, my wife had another obligation. But the 5 things that I'm going to be focused on, and I hope that we as a council, give a lot of attention to safety. And safety comes in different definitions. And it's been spoken about, hate crimes and just hate, period. But there's also vehicular safety and fire safety and things that we need to focus on as a small city. We are unique. You know, we are the most diversified municipality in Bergen County. And this is the example. You know, we should be the example. We can be the example. We have to be the example. So there are so many things that we can do, and it starts with conversation, but it has to move toward action. You can't just talk about, you know, how things should be. You know, we've got to make that happen. The second thing is jobs. Again, Assemblyman Johnson alluded to the fact that we are just under 5 square miles, but there is job growth here in some sectors, but we've got to do a better job of helping marry the residents of Englewood first, and then whomever outside of Englewood to those jobs, but particularly focusing on the people who live here, and more specifically the young people who live here, and give them an opportunity and a way to stay in Englewood. So many young people graduate from high school, and some go on to college. Others don't, but if they can't afford to live here, then they're going to leave, and Englewood will quickly become more of an aging community than we already are. Next, I'm going to promise to do every single thing I can to prevent overdevelopment across Englewood. We're only 5 square miles, or just under 5 square miles, and we don't need to resemble Fort Lee or Hoboken and cram as much as we can into these borders. We have to be smart about who we are and what we are. There are things that can be done, and things that should be done, and things that should not be done. So those things are, have to be at the forefront of what we do. We've also got to be smart about things from a fiscal perspective, and we started conversations and made some moves toward, making sure our debt doesn't grow any further than it is, and we got to adopt those policies as a council and use the professionals that we have here to make sure that those things get done. But it's up to us. We've got the vote to do it, and we have to be responsible for making sure that happens. The fifth thing is, we need to continue earnest conversation about a community center. We've got to make decisions. We've got to bring the information to the residents. We've got to have real dialogue about what can happen, how it can happen, and to the extent we can, make it happen. It's possible. I personally support it. I think it's the right thing for Englewood, but we have to do it the right way, and that's going to take work, and that's work at. It's just more than, it's more than talking about it. We've got to be about it. We've got to, get the information, bring the information in front of people, discuss it, and then take action. So those are the 5 things that I think we need to focus on. But the last thing I want to say is that I want to thank all of the city employees of Englewood, starting with our interim city manager, and the ones in this room, in particular, Yancey, Catherine, and Miles, and Caesar are sitting back there with their, pretending like they're blending into the, to the walls. But people put out a lot here, and I do want to give you a public thank you for all that you do. You are the face of Englewood to most people, and there are things that some of you can do better in terms of being a little bit more hospitable, and there are things that residents can do better in terms of being a little bit more hospitable. So we are all working on this together, and the more that we each give, and we do it in different ways, but the more that each of us gives, the better this place will be. So, thank you all.
Thank you. Good evening, Happy New Year. And I'd just like to start off by congratulating Councilman Hamer, Councilman Cohen on their reelection and taking their oath tonight. I would like to congratulate Councilwoman Rosenberg for pro tem. And I would like to thank Councilwoman Glenn for leading us last year. I don't believe this is an easy job. I think people, you know, there's a lot of pressure, but you know what, congratulations on that, and I thank you for that, the effort and your time and your commitment. And I would just like to go back to what Mayor Huddle said. You know, I am somebody who was born and raised in Englewood, right over there on Humphrey Street, and now I sit here, and it's a humbling experience for me to be sitting here right now. You just don't know. However, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to do the best job that I can do. I'm going to work with this council, and I'm going to bring transparency here, and we're going to work hard. And I'm not saying we don't now, but we will. And we hear what you're saying, and so our success is with you as well. And we have to work with you, and we have to be more open and transparent. I just want to touch on a couple of points that Councilman Hamer just brought up. And safety is, for me, our #1 priority. The chief is sitting here, and he hears from us, and people hear from us. And I've seen a few emails where people say they've said things and it's coming on deafening ears to the council. It's not true. We are responding. We are having dialogue. So just because you haven't seen somebody say something publicly doesn't mean that we're not reacting or putting things in place and working with it. We want to let the professionals do what they need to do, but they often hear from us. So I just want to let you know that that's very important. And also, as a member of the planning board, when I sat on the planning board, going back to what Councilman Hamer said as well, is that, you know, we have to have good development. And what I mean by that is development that benefits the residents of the city of Englewood. You know, and the developers are going to always benefit in their end, but we have to make sure it works for us. And I say this all the time at the planning board. That's why I always urge people to come to planning board meetings. That's where that dialogue and that conversation takes place. So we do have a lot to work on in 2020. I would hope that you could make it and come out to these meetings. It's your job to hold us accountable. It's your opportunity to hold us accountable at the meetings. One of the things that we have done in 2019 is we started to record the meetings so more people can see what's being said. And I think and I hope it inspires people to get involved. I think the key is participating in your community. This community will be what you want it to be if everybody's participating. You have ownership. You have a stake in this community. And don't let anybody tell you that's not true. You have a stake. So, you know, I think that that's important, and people have to understand that. When you see successful communities, what do? You see people being involved, engaged in their communities. And it's very important that we invest in our young people, because they are truly the future. And if they see a thriving community, maybe they stay here and help to build this community and help it evolve into the community that we want to have. Everybody, I'm sure, has a vision and expectations. So, you know, I think it's important, but I look forward to moving this council forward in 2020 and us doing a lot of the work and being involved. And I hope that when we put things on the agenda, that we will tackle these things and we will move them to solutions and closing, and we can be able to report back to you on these things and being involved. And please, you know what, when you come to the mic, you know, let us know what's on your mind, but also you have an opportunity to send us emails. You have an opportunity to call us on the phone, and we're responsive. And if we're not responsive, please let me know, and then I will speak to that member or speak to myself if I have to, but I know we will be responsible. The Englewood is a great town, and that's how we have to think about it, as a great town. You know, and let's set the example, and let's start tonight by setting the example. Let's encourage our neighbors to get involved. you know, I know it's hard. People work every day, and they work hard. They work a lot of hours but tell them if they participate in one activity, one meeting, that's better than zero. We need to hear from them. We need to be involved. You know, this year we have the census, 2020. We need to be involved. We need everybody to participate in that activity, because with that, that brings funding for our town. So we need to understand how we need to get involved in that. So, you know, these are some of the things we can get in. And when people tell you, I don't have time, tell them, make time. This is important to you. If you want to be here and you want a nice town to live in, people have expectations when they've bought. So, you know, I just would tell you, just let's change our attitude. Let's make it positive. Let's use the P word. Let's be positive thinking. I know we get frustrated with things because things don't move as fast as we like, but we have to work on those things, and we have to say, let's think positive about it, because I don't think anybody sets out daily to say, I want to see failure, or I don't want to have a negative attitude or things of that nature. So I would encourage you to just be positive, and we have to work with you, and you have to work with us, and let's do this together. We're all in this together. So with that, I thank you for coming out tonight, and we're going to move the meeting to the public session right now. Yeah. Oh, so hold on. Jansen, please put that back, please. We're going to move this to the resolution part. And for the public comment on any of the resolutions from 001 to 036. If you have any comments on those resolutions, please come to the mic, and you have 4 minutes. No time?
That's now?
That's now, the resolution, yes.
Should we turn this back around?
Yep.
All right, some of the things I see right here on this resolution that, yeah, Ricardo Wilby, Englewood, New Jersey.
Thank you.
One of the things I really want to talk about is that you talk about people getting involved and getting engaged, right? The schedule of council meetings for 2020. I think we need to really try to figure out how we could make some of these meetings alternate, to where you do something with the time, maybe have a meeting in the afternoon, or, you know, it doesn't have to be a set time every day. Some people have different schedules, varying schedules, and I think if we move it around, more people will be able to engage. I mean, it can't be so predictable that every Tuesday, the first and second Tuesday of the month, is a city council meeting. I've even been to some municipalities where their meetings start, for Hackensack, for instance, their meetings start at 6 o'clock. Okay, so there's got to be some kind of way, maybe to have a afternoon meeting or something like that, to be a little bit more accommodating to certain people. All right, that's all I have to say.
Good.
Good evening.
Good
Happy New
evening.
Year. Scott Jenkins with the North Jersey Black Caucus for Social Justice. I just want to start here because I can't go through each and every one of them, but I'm looking at number 022 and then all the way down. These are appointments: appointment of solicitor, appointment of auditor, appointment of bond counsel, labor counsel, risk manager, arborist, and I can just go through the list. Can somebody please tell me how many of these folks are minorities or minority contractors?
I don't have a number.
Is there any way that I could get an answer to that question? You know, within a reasonable amount of time?
Yes, we could get one.
Okay.
I'll get one to you.
I bring this up just to bring it up. Obviously, there needs to be some kind of interest in whether or not minorities are both being appointed to some of these positions, or whether they're being appointed as contractors or given the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. No one else? I'm going to close this public part of this meeting. Do any council members have any items that they want to pull?
I just wanted to ask, how many of these do we have to do tonight? And can we push the rest to the next meeting?
It's probably most.
Okay.
A few of those, I mean. Which ones? Any in particular that you have? No?
Council President, may I?
Yes, Councilor Hammond.
Because we haven't had an opportunity to go through and have dialogue about the reappointment, in some case, appointment of our professionals, I'd like to suggest that we take action on resolutions 1 through 22, and the remainder, have a fuller discussion on them at either the January 7th and or the January 21st meeting. So if you need a motion, I'd move to table action on resolutions 23 through 36.
Second. We have to do TNM. If it's, we have to do TNM.
Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
I would like to. What do you have to do?
Number 30.
30.
I send these out in October, though.
Yeah.
Pardon?
So how do we do that? Because he put a motion up.
I second.
I'm sorry. I would like to propose an amendment. I would like to add 23 and 31.
I'll accept that.
Add them, that's adding them to put on or not to put on today?
Say that again?
The amendment would be to add.
He wanted to go to 22, right, from 001 to 022.
Right.
And I wanted to add 23 and 31.
To not be on today, you mean?
No, to be on today.
To be on today?
Yes,
Okay.
to be on today.
Okay.
You have anything, Councilman Hall?
I accept that as a friendly amendment, but it would require now a second,
Second.
Okay.
You okay? Go ahead.
I just would want to know, in the cases of the other ones, if there's a gap until, when's our next meeting is
Tuesday.
Okay, so there's no services that we're going to have a gap that we're going to have a problem with? I'm just going to make sure.
I don't think so.
If there isn't, that's fine.
It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Today's Thursday. So I think, now unless Jewel could tell us if there's a gap on something there.
I don't know what their next
But I don't believe so.
But I'm saying, for instance, when I see, like, I'm just for example's sake, I mean, like, for some of them, I could see there's no problem at all. But, like, for instance, let's say for city engineer, does that mean we don't have an engineer from now till Tuesday for any work?
No,
Or-
but this is.
That was added. That was added.
That was added.
That's
You
number
remember,
31.
if you remember.
Oh, you're saying this is just till,
Well,
because a lot of these I could see there's no problem with.
well,
Right.
Labor Council is doing work that is due on the 7th.
So with it, I'm sorry, Council President?
Go ahead.
Interim manager, in that case, wouldn't the President Labor Council continue until we take action?
No.
The contract has expired.
So that would mean they would stop working right now? When's the contract expire?
We would not be authorized to basically incur cost.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what was said.
Go, say that again.
And I said, we would not be authorized to incur cost.
I'm certainly not prepared to continue with Labor Council at this point without having a discussion.
What I would recommend is a motion that we allow for a continuation of all those contracts on for what, 5 days or 4 days, whatever. We can do a unanimous motion to extend current contracts for the 5 days or whatever the amount of days it is. Can we do that?
I don't think you can do that. You can't do that. Can you do that?
That gets problematic.
Yeah. Huh?
That is problematic. I mean, we're going to prepare contracts for 5 days, and they may say no. I'm just speculating.
Because we have to enter them.
Mr. Cobb?
For 5 days. Who's going to do that? Really, when we're meeting on Tuesday?
My only concern is if they have work product due on the 7th, what are we going to do?
What do we do?
Well, what is the nature of that work?
Can I make a suggestion, Mr. Cobb?
Let me just say it.
Technically, like attorneys, for example, our contracts are only for 1 year by statute. Right. So they expire December 31st. Because of the way the holiday is, it gets extended until the reorg meeting, which is today.
Right.
So technically, beyond today, there would be no contract, or they would have no obligation.
Well, that's till Tuesday. I don't think that's a big, to me, if the council is okay with that, because obviously we have some questions about the people we are not extending, and we haven't had that discussion. So we need to just not, for the sake of, stamping it for that. We wouldn't hold it if we didn't, Yes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Cobb. We have to pay our professionals. If the computer system goes down and we don't have a contract in place, unless you take some kind of action tonight, every function is in jeopardy. And that's why I think historically, I'm going back 20 years now, the professionals have always been hired at the reorganization to avoid that kind of gap in service. So again, if there's anything mission critical, perhaps you want to just pass a resolution until Tuesday and then address everything next Tuesday. But you're going to have to go one professional at a time because you don't know what's going to become an issue. And a lawyer, I don't know whether or not a law firm can continue without a 1 year obligation.
I'm just trying to be creative here, but maybe we could, and obviously, Bill would have to let us know what we're legally allowed to do on this, but could we pass a resolution saying, authorizing that in the event of one of these professionals being in a situation where there's an emergency need over the next, or a need, or whatever that need is over the next 5 days, that are authorized to permit for that work to be done, and that we will retroactively, that we will, I just, some way to allow for those people to be authorized to be legally paid upon, let's say, the city manager's approval for those 5 days, so we don't have a gap in the event of an emergency. Is there any way?
It gets problematic because then how do you define an emergency? And it's
we can say determined by the city manager.
Well,
here's obviously this is we're making it more than what it is, because I believe that since we haven't had discussions with that and there's some uncomfortability with it, I think that Tuesday you're basically talking about 2 business days for those guys. And I think I can speak for myself. I could live with these other folks not doing it. But this is the council. We have to clearly vote on that.
The only one that concerns me is if there's work product due on the 7th, and if those couple of business days could make all the difference in the world for that particular issue.
Anybody got any more thoughts?
Do you have to alert the professionals, Mr. Bailey, that the council is deferring this till Tuesday, and then just put them on notice that we don't expect any issues, but please be advised, at least give them the professional courtesy?
Yes, and I can only speak for myself. Well, I think last year I was not reappointed.
At the first meeting.
Last year we moved it off to the second.
But as a courtesy, I continued, and I expect that these individuals would as well. I can't speak for them.
So what's less troubling?
They're reputable firms.
What's less troubling to you, pushing the whole thing off until Tuesday, or just accepting a portion of it and then notifying those other professionals?
mean, I'm not real comfortable with this 5-day kind of appointment thing, if that's what you're referring to, but.
Right. I would rather wait till 2. Last year, we did the same thing. We moved it back because we didn't have that conversation. And this wasn't an issue last year. This is the same thing. So yes.
I'm just making sure, but legally, we would not have a problem. Let's say, for argument's sake, whoever it is needed to work over the next 5 days, and then we reappoint them next Tuesday. From a legal perspective, are we allowed to then pay them for the work that they had when they weren't contracted?
We can pay
Yes,
them.
you can do it retroactive.
We can do it retroactive? Yeah. And if, let's say, there's a work of that nature for 5 days and we don't reappoint them, we're still able to theoretically...
We would pay them.
I just don't want to leave anybody in the lurch.
No, we would pay them. We would pay them. Because that's work done. I mean, they would bill us just like anything else. We would pay them. We're not going to shortchange anybody. So getting back to the motion that's on the floor, I believe.
So many motions and motions on them.
First it was Councilman Hamer to go from 001 to 022, and then I added 23 and 31.
So we need a roll call vote for the amendment to the motion, I believe. First, and
we
then
need a roll call vote for the
roll call.
Okay. So we're going to have a roll call vote for the amendment.
For the amendment first.
You want to do that?
Okay, so this is the roll call vote for the amendment to the motion.
Okay.
Councilman Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Glenn?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Vote yes.
Councilwoman Rosenberg?
Yes.
Council President Cobb?
Yes.
And now this is for the amended motion.
Now,
Resolutions 1 through 23.
I got
now
it.
motion. Huh?
I move to adopt motions 1 through 23 and 31.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Glenn?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Vote yes.
Councilwoman Rosenberg?
Yes.
Council President Cobb?
Yes. Now, we open up to the public session.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Christopher Gagliardi from West Street in Englewood, New Jersey, and it is the duty of every citizen to give the citizen's response. First of all, at the onset, I wish to, on behalf of the citizens of Englewood, express our deepest sympathies to our friends in Jersey City and Muncie for the recent events that took place. No evil should ever rear its head in our country, because America has always been a place for the beauty of faiths and denominations anywhere. And as a public citizen, I do strongly condemn these appalling attacks that took place, and this will not be tolerated anywhere in this country. Hate has no place, and love will triumph. To our new council president, I extend my congratulations to you on your historic appointment. And to our pro temp, I congratulate you once again. The number 20 is the number for empowerment. I say empowerment because this is a time of great change in our country. We saw that with the youth of America and the world this past year in 2019, especially with the climate strike change that took place by the leadership of the empowerment of one Greta Thunberg. The mayor has taken on the empowerment of many things in his day as the mayor since taking office last few years back, and is still taking empowerment to helping making Englewood a stronger place. This is an important year in our history, and in this history, we must be empowered to make the ultimate decision of our country's future. Whether we want 4 new years of progress and a brighter day, or do we face another road of darkness into the abyss? I know where I stand. I stand on the power of change. I am empowered to fight like I never have fought in my life. I just recently turned 39, and I have witnessed firsthand the boldment of empowerment. And I've done many things in my day that were empowering. Among them last year was the Pride March in New York City for World Pride, representing Englewood, and of course helping to raise the Pride flag for the very first time in our city. Let's make sure that we do that again this year to empower people to promote equality where we are. And it is important now that all of us, not just those who tried to run for office and speak their mind, is vital to be empowered to tell people with the ultimate useful tool about why they should vote strongly and come out in droves. And that is the truth. And facts do come first. As an individual with special needs, it is vital for me to represent Englewood strongly and to our young people who need to be heard. The time for silence is over. The time for silence has got to end. And the time to sit by and do nothing no longer should be that, a do-nothing time. It is a time to speak up and stand up and do what's right, as Elijah Cummings did. And now another who is fighting for his own survival, a civil rights advocate from Georgia, who just recently found out he's been stricken ill. Also this year, 40 years in December of this year, a man who all he said was to give peace a chance, and who was a dreamer and imagined all the people to live their lives in peace, will be remembered all over the world. With the mayor's help and I, we are planning already big events. Among them will be a peace march and a rally. And so I ask America and Englewood, who are watching us on YouTube tonight, be empowered. Stand with us. Stand with the youth of America. Let's fight for change. Let's empower Englewood this year and empower the people to come out, not just for city council meetings, but to hear the facts and to be involved not just in the census, but also in the major election for the presidency. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ricardo Wilby, Englewood, New Jersey. I want to acknowledge the hundreds of millions of my ancestors that died in the transatlantic slave trade and swung from trees here in the United States of America. And I want to read the scripture out the Bible, 2 Samuel 12. The Lord sent Nathan to David. When he came to him, he said, there were two men in a certain town, one rich and the other poor. The rich man had a very large number of sheep and cattle, but the poor man had nothing except one little ewe lamb he had bought. He raised it, and it grew up, and his own children. It shared his food, drank from his cup, and even slept in his arm. It was like a daughter to him. Now a traveler came to the rich man, but the rich man refrained from taking one of his own sheep or cattle to prepare a meal for the traveler who had come to him. Instead, he took the ewe lamb that belonged to the poor man and prepared it for the one who had come to him. David burned with anger against the man and said to Nathan, as surely as the Lord lives, the man who did this must die. He must pay for the lamb 4 times over because he did this such a thing and had no pity. Then Nathan said to David, you are that man. You're that man. Okay? This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I anointed you king over Israel, and you delivered you from the hand of Saul. I gave your master's house to you, and your master's wives into your armies. I gave you all Israel and Judah. And if all this had been too little, I would have given you even more. Why did you despise the word of the Lord by doing what is evil in his eyes? You struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword and took his wife to be your own. The denialism and the hypocrisy here in Englewood has driven the hatred in this town. Okay, the gentrification is a form of hatred. Violating the civil rights of our kids up at the school that are failing is hatred. Not listening to people. You encourage people to come to those board meetings, the planning board meetings. I've been to many of those meetings. We feel that our concerns are on deaf ears. Okay? Again, I said my ancestors swung from trees. The leading cause of death in America for black male now is approaching 1,000 a year is police shootings. So Michael Cohen, you talked about the fact that you love what the police are doing. Oftentimes, the police are our executioners. Once upon a time, they were the runaway slave catchers. People suffer from white supremacy. People suffer from denialism. They refuse to face the fact the greatest cancer in this country is racism. And you can't talk about black versus white like night and day. People sit down and talk about their problems. They don't talk about the problems of nobody else. They don't even give an ear to listen to the concerns, the valid concerns of people that are pushed out of their homes for greed and personal gain. They tell you to suck it up. Like Martin used to say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, but you take the bootstraps. America's biggest problem is its hypocrisy. They deal with racism like night and day. Once upon a time at night, there was a war on drugs. In the day, it's a medical epidemic. We know what time it is. Some of us don't come here to be anybody's friend. We come here to sound the alarm, to let you know about the injustices that are happening here in this town every single day, over and over. And I hope you, Charles Cobb, being a product of Englewood, listen and hearken to the voice of your people that have suffered the degradation. Okay? We talk about this diverse Englewood. All of the progress and all of the developments that they see as progress is happening in your ward, Wayne. They're not building stuff up on the hill. They're building down the valley. Why? To push black people out. Okay? So the hypocrisy has to change. Once the hypocrisy changes and you can admit the problem, then maybe you could find a solution.
Hi, everybody. Andrew Harari, Englewood, New Jersey. I wasn't planning on speaking here tonight. I happened in. My friend Michael was reelected, and I wanted to be here to support you for that, so congratulations on that. We have a problem. What we need are more conversation like the good pastor spoke and what Assemblyman Johnson spoke about. We don't need fire and brimstone. Fire and brimstone is what caused my people about 80 years ago to be gassed en masse. It caused terrible, terrible damage to the Jewish community. It caused, in the past, terrible damage to the black community in this country. We've all suffered. We've all been to this terrible place, and we're not able to build on these same types of stories and difficulties that we've lived through. You have people who come up to this microphone and hurt what this community could be. There is beauty in this community. I guarantee that we have friends on all sides. But when we allow fire and brimstone to be spoken at this microphone, it causes the disdain and the hatred that leads to the violence that we've seen in Jersey City and in Muncie and around the world. And it's not what we need. We need love. We need calm speech, not what others bring into this room in order to harm this community. So I just wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say that this community is everything. For the past 15 years, to me, my family, and to many of my friends around here. I'm sorry that there aren't more of my friends sitting around in this room right now so that they could be a part of this conversation. But I will do my best to bring them here. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See that there's nobody else wanting to come to the mic? Reverend Thompson.
Council President. Council.
Hold on one second.
Before Reverend Thompson begins, you might want to invite everyone to stay around and participate in what's in the back of the room.
Two things.
Okay.
We have some food in the back that everybody can stay around after the meeting, and we're going to close the public session. Right? We're going to close the public comment, and we're going to let Reverend Thompson do the benediction.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And Happy New Year. To our mayor, to the council, just want to thank you for the opportunity to be here and to participate in this gathering. Let us close out with a word of prayer. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth. And it is in your excellent name that we gather today on this, the second day of the year 2020, for this reorganization of the City Council of Englewood. God, we thank you for each and every one of your children that serve in this capacity. Thank you for those that have been reelected, those that have been elevated, and also thank you for our newly elected president. I pray that you extend grace, wisdom, and a greater measure of faith to these public servants. Let them be the conduits for unity, cooperation, and progress. Your word declares to us that righteousness exalts a nation. Let righteousness also exalt Englewood. And may justice reign in this city for all of its residents. With your help, O Lord, let this city rise together to meet every obstacle, overcome every challenge, and exceed every expectation. Protect this, our beloved city, from the spirit of evil and hatred that has become pervasive in this country. God, please bless the city of Englewood, New Jersey. It is in your mighty, matchless name, that name that is above every name, the name of Jesus the Christ, we pray. Amen.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.